Have you ever felt like you weren't alone, even when you were the only one in the room? A shiver down your spine? The feeling of eyes on your back? I used to dismiss it as my imagination. Not anymore. Not after what happened in apartment 4B. It was supposed to be a fresh start. A new city, a new job, a new life. The apartment building, the Willow Creek, was old but had character. Or so I told myself. The price was almost too good to be true, and now I know why. From day one, things were off. Doors I was sure I had closed would be standing wide open. Keys I'd left on the counter would appear on the floor by the door. I blamed my stress, the exhaustion of moving. I was just being forgetful. Then came the noises. At first it was subtle, a soft scratching from inside the walls like a mouse. I bought traps, but they remained empty, untouched. The scratching grew bolder, more rhythmic. Scratch, pause, scratch, pause. It always started around 3 a.m., waking me from a dead sleep, my heart pounding in the suffocating silence of the night. One night the scratching was replaced by a different sound. Tapping. It was coming from the closet in my bedroom. 3 distinct taps. Tap, tap, tap. I held my breath, listening. Silence. I told myself it was the pipes, the building settling. But then it came again. Tap, tap, tap. Closer this time, as if it was coming from the inside of the closet door itself. I spent the rest of the night huddled on my couch, a lamp on, jumping at every creak and groan of the old building. The next day I tried to rationalize it. I even opened the closet, half expecting something to jump out. But there was nothing. Just my clothes, my boxes, the faint smell of mothballs, and something else. Something vaguely metallic and sweet. I tried to ignore it. I went to work, I saw friends, I tried to live a normal life. But the nights were a different story. The tapping became a nightly ritual. And it was getting more insistent. It was no longer just 3 taps. It was a frantic, desperate pounding, like someone was trapped and trying to get out. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. Dark circles formed under my eyes. My coworkers started asking if I was okay. I'd just smile and say I wasn't sleeping well. An understatement. I was living in a constant state of low-grade terror. My curiosity started to outweigh my fear. I needed to know what was going on. I started asking my neighbors about the history of the building. Most were new, like me. But then I met Mr. Abernathy in 2B. He was a frail, elderly man who had lived in the Willow Creek for over 40 years. When I mentioned the noises in 4B, a shadow passed over his face. He hesitated, then leaned in close, his voice a raspy whisper. "You shouldn't have moved in there, dear, not into 4B. He told me about the previous tenant, a reclusive woman named Eleanor. She had lived in my apartment for decades. One day, she just vanished. No one saw her leave. Her mail piled up. A smell started to emanate from the apartment, and the landlord finally had to break down the door. The police found the apartment empty, not just of Eleanor, but of everything. Her furniture, her clothes, her pictures, all gone. It was as if she had been erased. The only thing they found was in the bedroom closet. On the back wall, scratched into the plaster, were 3 words. "Let me out." Mr. Abernathy said the landlord had it plastered over before renting it out again. "No one stays in 4B for long," he finished, his eyes filled with a sad pity. That night, armed with this terrifying new knowledge, I couldn't bring myself to go into the bedroom. The pounding started at 3 a.m., as always, but this time, I heard something else. A voice. A faint, wheezing whisper, seeping from under the bedroom door. It was barely audible, but I could make out a single word, repeated over and over. "Please. Please. Please." I was paralyzed with fear. This wasn't pipes. This wasn't the building settling. This was real. I grabbed my phone and my keys and I ran. I didn't stop until I was in my car, speeding away from the Willow Creek, not daring to look back. I spent the night in a 24-hour diner, shaking, drinking burnt coffee, watching the sun come up. The next morning I called the landlord and told him I was breaking my lease. I didn't give him the real reason. What could I say? That my apartment was haunted by a ghost trapped in the closet? He'd think I was crazy. I just said I had a family emergency and had to move. I forfeited my security deposit, but I didn't care. No amount of money was worth another night in that place. I hired movers to get my stuff. I couldn't bring myself to go back inside, so I gave them the key and waited in the parking lot, pacing back and forth. When they were finally done, one of the movers, a big guy with tattoos up his arms, came over to me. He looked pale. "Hey, miss," he said, shifting his weight. "Weird question, but did you have something stored in the bedroom closet? Something heavy?" I shook my head, my stomach twisting. "No, why?" He hesitated. "Well, when we moved the last box out of there, the new plaster on the back wall, it just crumbled away. Fell right off." He took a deep breath. Behind it there was this old, dark stain, and a bunch of writing scratched into the wall. My blood ran cold. I didn't want to know, but I had to ask. What did it say?" The mover looked me right in the eye, his voice low. "It said the same thing over and over. I'm still here. And, at the bottom, there was a message for you." I couldn't speak. I just stared at him. He swallowed hard. It said, "You can't leave me." I never went back. I left most of my belongings behind. I moved to a different state. I live in a brand new building now, one without character, without history. But sometimes, in the dead of night, when the building is quiet, I think I can hear it. A faint distant sound, a soft scratching tap, 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 and I wonder if Eleanor is still looking for a way out, or if she's found a way to follow me. Thanks for sticking with me through that chilling tale. If you enjoyed this story and want more spooky content that will keep you up at night, be sure to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Stay safe out there and check your closets.